Hey y'all, so sorry, my nose is itchy right here. Um, so I just got off the phone with the housing case manager, and so I'm on a long but unpredictable waiting list for housing, but she told me that she was gonna try to see if I can get some kind of income-based housing and stuff, like if she can see about getting something for me. She told me right now there's a place open, but it's $675 a month. But she said she knows that would be too much for me because it's not rent included or anything like that. I meant to say not utilities included. That's what I get for distracting myself. So it's no utilities included. I meant to say, why am I saying it wrong? There's $675 plus additional utilities included. So, I told her kind of my situation, but I told her my situation without telling her, about being targeted and gang stalked or whatever. That's how it's like you got to play it off. Like, I hate, like, you got to be forced to play it off like as if you don't really know, what gang stalking is or whatever. So I didn't mention any of that really, but I mentioned about, they try to ask you about your mental disorders and stuff like that. But they had this one place in New Orleans, that supposedly had housing, but it was also a long waiting list. But see, one thing about this housing though, is the only way you get housing is to, quote unquote, admit that you have a mental problem. They want you to, quote unquote, admit that you have a mental problem. See, that's the noise harassment with the motorcycles distracting me right now. See, how am I the mental one when you know what you're doing is intentional harassment? So you wait till after I do my video to start with that noise or whatever. So she was talking about that I should either go back to McKinney Place, in which I don't think they want me back there, and I can't go back there. She said either that or a boarding home, where they take more of your freedom and rights away. Boarding care or boarding home, where they take all your income away from you and leave you with like $38 a month, while they exploit and abuse you and force medicate you and stuff. So it seems like even in Los Angeles, that was the only way how I got, even after I found out the truth about mental health and psychiatry and everything like that. It's like I was forced to go back into the mental health system and succumb to being forced to see a psychiatrist and take medicine. But I was lucky to have a psychiatrist. It was a lighter skinned black female psychiatrist. What was her name? Dr. Lucas from the fake Kedron Mental Health Place. She was one of the best psychiatrists, the best doctors I ever had. But the problem was, I'm glad she listened to me and she understood what I had to say. But the thing was, the mental health case managers and the mental health therapists and everybody like that, they perked me really bad. They gang stalked me. And plus, I saw records of when they made false statements on me long after I left the mental health Kedron place in Los Angeles, which they've been exposed by the fake Scientology cult to be a fraud. But how about Scientology? Y'all need to expose yourselves too. So, it's like I got my Section 8 in 2 months with that situation. But, when I was living in Los Angeles and got my Section 8 and stuff, and I was living pretty okay. until 2015 was when I started the vibrating torture. Started with my feet vibrating. Then it got worse and just worse, and I couldn't get sleep, and I couldn't stay in my house. And the landlord started perping me. The neighbors started perping me, and I thought it was all. I thought it was all because my twin sister called them up and just put stuff in their head out of her own personal malice. I didn't realize this was part of the gang stalking thing, where they do stuff like put dead birds right on my smush dead birds they put like right on my doorstep, or I leave the house and then come back and wonder why my door is open every single day that I leave the house. That I come back, my door is wide open, or I'll be asleep at night and then wake up and my cabinets in the kitchen are wide open, and I thought it was just witchcraft, you know. So I didn't realize that people were entering my house. My Section 8 house, the landlord was gang stalking me really heavily, and I just up and left. And I left a note that lied and said that everything was fine. They made it like they understood about me feeling the vibrating torture. They said that what I did was not breaking the lease, but then they snuck behind my back and lied and said that, well, they told me that they tried to say that I did break the lease. Then I got no closure, was not allowed to explain myself. The landlord didn't tell me what he did with the turtles. He was ignoring and dodging me. And so, all these people who used to have a strong amount of love and respect for me, and then they get hateful and turn against me. But that narcissistic, abusive Section 8 worker, Miss Ronnie, R-O-N-I, Ronnie Jones, was a narcissistic abuser. And she, it's like the landlord lied on me and ruined my credit, because they try to say that it's okay for me to just up and leave, and as long as I turn the keys in, it's okay. And they said there was nothing wrong with that, and I'll be fine, I wouldn't be in trouble. But then I found out a couple of months later that my credit score was from 699, which was 1 point away from good credit and 1 point away from 700, all the way down to 630. From 699 all the way down to 630, because they try to, lie and say that I broke the lease. The reason why I said that they're lying, because, well, they basically gave me permission to break the lease and said that I was not breaking the lease, because they try to make it like they understood my situation, and then after I left, that's when they got mad and screamed at me and hung up in my face. The landlord was dodging and ignoring my calls. And I didn't find out till a couple of months later that my bank had, my credit score got shot really far down. And I didn't find out also until a couple of years later that there was supposed to be some opportunity for me to, be able to get to sue that landlord for doing that to me. But I didn't. Not they said now it's too late now. So my credit is suffering. My credit score, was 1 point away from good credit, and it just got ruined behind a setup. And as I said, the landlord was perping me too, like half fixing stuff, and it would be winter and he did not give a fuck at all about me freezing and being cold. And it's another story. It's a different, that would take another video, because I explained that on my other channel before it got deleted, what happened and stuff. But I guess I have to retell that story again. But the landlord and neighbors all turned against me right after my biological parents had passed away. And during that time was my twin sister still had time to say evil stuff about me. But I'm the one who's crazy with no sense, but you're the one who's soulless and lack compassion for your own twin sister. And if my twin sister can share her home and her food and her money with her gay lover, but she refused to share her home money and food with her own twin sister or her children that she voluntarily gave up. So, but if you ask anybody, she'll lie to everybody saying I'm crazy and mentally unstable because she just parroting what the fake foster mom said. You know. So the neighbors admitted to me shortly before they moved out that my twin sister was putting stuff in their head and, you know, told them lies about me and slandered me and stuff. You know, and that's why they were, I mean, because they wouldn't tell me why they were acting funny and unusual towards me. But as I said, those neighbors and the landlord and everybody used to love me and treat me like normal. You know, told me I was like family to them. Like, you meet me off first sight and see me, and I'm, you know, you love me enough that when I first meet you and you automatically consider me like a family. Like the neighbor Ron, he used to be like another uncle, like an uncle, the uncle I never had. And then got hateful and turned against me and started to do very vicious stuff towards me. You know, for no reason at all. Like, everybody turned cold towards me around the time the biological mom, it started from when she died. Then everything worse started happening. And I'm surprised I didn't commit suicide then. But shucks, I was comfort eating and overeating and gained a lot of weight. And, you know, it was a tumultuous time for me. It was a rough time for me. And I'm surprised that I guess I just kept fighting during that time. You know, this was back in 2013. But then, you know, almost 3 years later was when I had to leave that place. And you know, they allowed me to stay in the Section 8 program. And that lady had me, that's another story, in Greenville, South Carolina, you know. And I stayed there for a year. I was gang stalked and abused there. Didn't realize that what was going on. And then back to New Orleans, heavy gang stalking neighborhood campaign against me. Ran me out of the neighborhood. I moved another place from my Section 8. They ran me out of that neighborhood. So if you keep running me out of my neighborhoods and set me up to break my lease and stuff, and you like where I'm cornered into no choice but to break my lease, well, you know, I don't know what to, you know. So I'm just trying as best as I can to not be in predicaments where I'm more controlled, like a boarding home or a homeless shelter where they have 800 rules and more rules and more rules and more control, and they force you to wear a mask all day, every day, and stay inside. I can't live that miserable life. I mean, I feel like I'm suffocating just thinking about it, you know? So, so if that lady tells me about some income-based housing, I mean, I'm hoping that I told her I can't do roommates because of my hypersensitive ears, and I had 2 strokes when I was 5, and, you know, my disability. She told me she was going to help me out with trying to at least look for some resources about she told me she was going to look for some resources about helping me with Asperger's to see about getting an official diagnosis. She said the state won't pay for it on Medicaid and stuff like that because I'm too old. She said if you're 24 and younger, they'll pay for it. But if you're over 24, then you can't, then you, I guess, on your own with trying to get tested for Asperger's syndrome. And that's why I'm so hypersensitive. And people tell me, oh, just ignore the gang stalkers or whatever. You know, if you're like hypersensitive and everything is torture, you know, and some people say that I could be microchipped, but I don't have any proof or evidence of that. It's that when I had the 2 nose surgeries, I read years later, like in 2011 or 2012, I read that when I read that when a person has nose surgery, just about every time they end up having a microchip in their nose and make their ears sensitive. I mean, I try to pinpoint that too. You know how they experiment on you in foster care. That's why I'm trying to be more vocal about the possible connection between targeted individuals and foster care and the CPS system. I mean, I wish I can research more and write a separate book on that. That could be a fourth book I can write. You know, so targeted individuals, foster care, human trafficking, unethical and unconsented human experimentation. So I'm trying to find out more answers, you know, and so I'm just, you know, that's and it's very hard, you know, to try to find the connections. So yeah, that's what I read, that just about everybody who has had nose surgery, they have an implant in their nose. But I don't know how I can go find out, if I have any implants in my nose, my ears, my head, or anywhere else in my body. The vibrating I was feeling in my feet at some people said that I could be, you know, I'm glad it doesn't happen as much anymore, but the vibrating I was feeling, it would start after 7 p.m. or get worse after 11 p.m., plus the noise harassment after 11 p.m., and me just being tortured with feeling like I have nowhere to go and can't stay in my house and stuff like that, you know. But, you know, some people said that I had a microchip in my foot. But then again, I would feel my organs vibrating in my stomach area. It felt like all of my, whatever was in my belly is vibrating, and they said that your organs being cooked, you know, being microwave, being cooked. And it's scary. I've seen with the targeted individual thing that it seems like with the damage that's done physically, that with the dual weapons and stuff, makes beautiful people turn so ugly, but beyond their fault or control. It's not their fault or their control. You know, if they were so gorgeous and cute and stuff, and then they were just freaking destroyed by those weapons, you know. And so, I'm trying to remember what else me and the lady talked about. The conversation wasn't all that long, but she said she's going to try to do whatever she can to help me. And I've told y'all situations where I was supposed to get certain help with housing and they failed me, or they stood me up. And she even confirmed that, you know, most housing, they want 3.5 times your rent, or, you know, or else they won't even, you know, give you the time of the day, really, you know. So that's my struggle right there. But she said she's going to try to find some income-based housing or something like that. And I don't want nobody to try to beg and plead with me to do roommates, because that roommate will probably perp me or set me up or do something, you know, or even neighbors. But I've seen other targeted individuals just live a life living in hotels and motels and asking for donations. But me personally, I don't want to live that lifestyle. I know that they have no choice. And I feel, and she even told me that if I end up going to jail, that there's programs, you know, that can be supportive of me if I go to jail too. If I get arrested and go to jail, which I'm trying to avoid the jail or the mental institution. And I'm not going to go to jail on purpose just to get a roof over my head. And I'm not going to go in a mental institution on purpose to get a roof over my head. So, you know, I'm trying to get my books out. And I don't even know. Well, I said that I don't want to charge people for my books, and I would rather just, you know, if they want to have their free will donations. Because some people said that I help a lot of people. Well, I have so few followers on YouTube and other social media that I just got. But, you know, YouTube and everything, I have so few followers. But some people say, you don't, Candy, keep telling your story because you don't know how you are helping people, you know? So, well, I'm going to have to go because my storage space running out. So I'll see y'all after lunch. Bye.